made it to Chirohustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channel and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes and continue hustling. This episode is sponsored by Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Chiropractic Rocks, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, doTERRA, Sherman College of Chiropractic, New Patients in a Box, the Influencer Authority Podcast Training, and Prime Spine Consulting. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 341 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I'm your co-host Luke Millette, and here's your host Jim Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Gregg Coker, and if you want to hear the story of adjusting 28 years of animals and people, stay tuned. Welcome back. It's another episode of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I have Luke Millette, my co-host, coming in from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Our esteemed guest today, Dr. Gregg Coker, coming in from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And Jim Chester, your host, coming in from the beautiful Grand Junction, Colorado. And before we get going with Dr. Gregg today, just want to set some ground rules with everybody, letting them know why we do what we do. We do protect free speech in the chiropractic profession with our podcast, Chiro Hustle. We do protect the sacred trust. If you guys don't know what that is, go research it. And we do support subluxation-based chiropractic. We do support the vernacular of innate intelligence and universal intelligence, because the power that made the body heals the body. And Dr. Gregg, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate you and Luke and the time, and they're devoted to this profession. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate you. 28 years, man.
Yeah, I love it. It'll never end.
So let's take a dive. Tell us your story, man. 28 years ago, you said you're doing woodwork, and all of a sudden chiropractic called out to you.
Well, actually, I was competing and fighting in karate tournaments a lot, all over, and I was national runner-up, national champion in 80-81 in my division, and all my friends kept saying, "Greg, you know, you're getting beat up every weekend, and you need a chiropractor." I said, "Nah, I'm fine." Well, they convinced me to go, and so I'm sure you know of my mentor, Dr. Robert Brooks.
Taking care of people.
Yeah, Nuka. Yeah. Well, he was my mentor. And so I ended up going to him. We became very close friends. And he, you know, after a while, he just thought, man, you're going to make a great chiropractor. And so he handed me one of the green books and he said, "Here, read this." So I've always known my whole life I was supposed to be a doctor, but I just didn't know what kind or when or how. Well, I worked in the emergency room for about 5 years, and I definitely found out I didn't want to be a medical doctor. So when he handed me those green books, I read one and I took it back to him, handed me another. So the philosophy of chiropractic just hit me right between the eyes, saying, that's what I've been looking for, the Amen. Philosophy and for chiropractic. So he continued to give me the green books, and I kept reading them and taking them back. And one day I walked in his office and I said, "What would it take to be a chiropractor?" He didn't say one word. He walked over to the phone. He called Palmer. He said, "I am sending somebody up there." He rented me a car, and he said, "I want you to take care of him, give him a place to stay and feed him and show and give him the tour and doing all that stuff." So I went home to my wife to explain the whole situation, and she's a very homebody, you know, she's family oriented. She's a stay at home. I mean, she's like, you know, I got to be with family. So I said, you know, I'm really thinking about becoming a chiropractor, and it's in Davenport, Iowa. and so I said, "Hey, Dr. Brooks is setting us up to go up there." And so we went up there and did the tour. It was awesome. And on our way home, I said, "Well, what do you think?" She said, "I knew we were moving up there before we left." So I was on board at that point. So we had 3 young girls, moved up there, and you know, I kept asking God, it's like, why am I here? Why do you have me here? And I knew I was supposed to be a chiropractor, but it's like, why am I here? And the halfway party, it was so clear. It's like he slapped me in the face and said, "What do chiropractors do?" I said, "Well, they adjust people." He said, No. Spiritually, what do they do? He said, And I said, oh my God, they lay hands on the sick and they recover. So ever since then, I've not questioned whatsoever that I'm supposed to be a chiropractor. He called me to be a chiropractor.
Come on, you moved to Davenport, Iowa for the weather.
Yeah. Well, in the I remodeled three over 100-year-old homes there while I was there. So it was kind of like, I love the woodworking and all that old style stuff. But yeah, the weather was not my friend. The snow came, but it never left, until the spring.
Oh, I know.
So
That's my hometown. I lived there for 30 years.
Oh, wow. So were you there when it flooded and that kind of?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The downtown.
Oh, yeah.
Well, while I was there, I found out there was an animal chiropractic club. And so I thought, oh my God, I love animals. So I went to the club and learned about it. And I mean, I was so turned on by the fact that there is such a thing as animal chiropractic. So when I graduated, I looked up Dr. Sharon Willoughby, who I consider is basically the mother of animal chiropractic. She was a veterinarian and a chiropractor. And I think she lost her license with the vets. And I mean, she believed it so strong, she promoted it and started teaching. So I took several modules with her, and there weren't any laws back then. It was just, we were just flying by the seat of our pants. And so when of course, I moved back to Oklahoma, and it exploded. I was seeing 60 racehorses a month and just exploded. And I just running with it. And then one day I got a letter from the chiropractic board, said, you need to cease and desist this animal chiropractic stuff, or we're going to pull your human license. Like, I put on the brakes. And so anyway, just a couple of years later, they passed the law in Oklahoma, which are some of the best laws in the country about animal chiropractic. And they said that if you go to the school and you get certified, then you can do what you want with animal chiropractic as long as you follow the scope. So I did that. And upon graduating there, the owners of the school said, hey, we love the way you deal with people and your philosophy and all that. We want you to be an instructor here. So I taught in the animal chiropractic college for about 7 years, part-time. And I just absolutely love that part of the profession, but about 50-50 animals, people, what I do. But so.
Well, before we move on to the next question, I am very curious, what style of karate did you practice?
Kondokwan is kind of a mixture of Chinese, Korean mixture. Roger Green was my sensei. He was probably ranked 6th in the world at one point. Tracy's, I forgot his first name, but he came in when the bare knuckled stage came in with Joe Louis way back. And so he was amazing instructor as far as knowing body mechanics and street fighting, and just, he taught us so well about, hey, I want you to be able to not just learn karate, but I want you to perform when it becomes necessary.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask because I just started taking karate myself.
Nice. It's a great sport. I mean, you talk about your stamina, and man, I'd go snow skiing, and it's like, come on, guys. So what's wrong? What are you guys, why are you puffing and puffing at each level? So
that's great.
Yeah.
So
love it.
What would you say is your favorite animal or animals to adjust?
Mainly I adjust horses and dogs, a lot of performance horses. I do some of the number 1, 2, and 3 top thoroughbred racehorse in Oklahoma that's won the most money in Oklahoma. I love, they're stallions, so I have to really be careful because they're kind of a little bit crazy. But I've adjusted many animals. I mean, I've helped with the bald eagle and Siberian tiger and an African lion cub and a Burmese python snake. And these are all safari animals that they take these animals to kid parties, and the kids get to, play with them or touch them or whatever. But there's a veterinary clinic in Perkins, Oklahoma, that she takes in injured wildlife. And she does it for free. She just takes care of them and helps them, rehabs them and gets them back to the wild. Or if they can't go back to the wild, she finds homes for them. So, I mean, I've done baby deer and baby beavers and baby skunks and kangaroo, which wasn't wild, but that they happened to be at the clinic the day I was over there. And so I help adjust that and in a wild owl. And what was really cool, I mean, it's a wild owl, and she was rehabbing it. And so when I was feeling the vertebra and I started, I was making some adjustments, and I was like right there, right on his neck. And I mean, he just really pushed into my hand like, yeah, that's it. That's it. And so I did the adjustment, and they respond so amazing. Animals have a much better sense of wellness and well-being than humans do, because humans have to have a reason to be sick. It's just so anyway.
Well, that also makes me curious. Is there any animal that you're dying to adjust that you haven't had a chance to yet?
I've never adjusted a giraffe. It'd be interesting, but they have 7 cervical vertebrae just like we do, but they're monstrous. One vertebra is about the size of our entire neck. But all mammals, there's only 2 species I think that don't have 7 cervical vertebrae in their neck. So it's pretty interesting that animals have 7 neck vertebrae just like we do, and they start varying in the thoracics and the lumbars and the sacrum. But yeah, a giraffe would be interesting. And while I was teaching at Options for Animals, they bought a lumbar whale vertebra. I mean, this thing was a monster vertebra. And, and I always tell the doctors, it's like, okay, who knows what this vertebra goes to? And every once in a while, somebody know it was a whale, but it was amazing that the features that are on this whale vertebra are amazingly similar to the lumbar vertebra of humans. I mean, it just has the transverse process, the dorsal spinous process, and the mammillary process. It was all there, and it's like, wow, this is very, very similar.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is sponsored by Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Chiropractic Rocks, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, doTERRA, Sherman College of Chiropractic, New Patients in a Box, the Influencer Authority Podcast Training, and Prime Spine Consulting. Let's hustle. So, follow up to your technique. I know that you're a zone student.
Yes.
Do you feel that because of your martial arts background, it's helped you with your adjusting techniques?
Absolutely, it did. I was also a draftsman in a lot of my working career, and so the straight lines and all that, and the karate with the speed, and I mean, every part, I just really believe that every step I was led into all these different things, and it led me to like, okay, you're going to use this with chiropractic, you're going to use this with chiropractic, and I have. It's amazing with the speed of the adjustment, and the velocity is so important.
Mm-hmm. So a little bit marketing, a little bit chiropractic, new patient talk. How do you stay busy, and what's your favorite method of getting new patients, or are you just referral based?
I've never advertised my entire career. I'm a firm believer in, you provide an excellent service for people and you get results, and you never have to worry. I mean, with my zone patients, they come in and their first correction, they're already making a list of people that they're going to send in. I mean, I've got 5 people I'm going to send in to you. I mean, it's like, oh my God, I feel like a whole new person. So it's pretty incredible as to how that goes. And so I get pretty overwhelmed by all of these new people that, everybody wants to send in. So,
well, let's talk a little bit about zone. How has it helped your chiropractic career? I know that you were already a a professional chiropractor before zone school. So
Right.
how has it helped advance your certainty and your skill sets?
Well, it's a little bit different. And so what zone talks about is, people come in and they give me their list of their diseases and ailments and things like that. And I say, what if, I say all professions, healing arts, they say that the brain is sending perfect messages, but the parts are screwed up. So medical doctors medicate the parts, and they alter the parts, and they remove the parts, and chiropractors are adjusting the parts, and physical therapists are therapying the parts, and massage therapists are massaging the parts. So everybody's doing parts therapy for health, and they all get results, but it's not even close to the level of results that I get and expect. So what zone school says, what if the brain is sending faulty messages? What if the brain is not in harmony with that circulatory system, or that digestive system, or elimination system? There's 6 brain centers that control every cell, every function, everything that goes on in your existence is within the brain. 6 systems. So it's glandular, elimination, nervous, digestive, muscular, and circulatory. So those 6 systems are, if you have anything that's wrong, then I promise you there is a brain disconnect between the brain and that part of that system in the body. They're just not in harmony. People are saying, yeah, I've got a good day, but now I don't. And oh, it's a couple hours, it's pretty good, but now it's not. So when I balance through the zone technique, when I balance the brain and the body, now it's kind of like your computer. When it's not working right, you turn it off, you turn it back on, and what you really did is you reset the brain in the computer, and now the brain is in complete harmony with all the systems in the computer, and it's like, oh my God, it's working great now. That's almost exactly what we do with zone technique, is that we balance the brain with the body, one system at a time, which is different than your computer. Because if you do more than one system at a time, it's like, whoa, what are we doing here? It's like, it's too much here. So we balance one brain center at a time. And it eventually, the brain, and a lot of times a brain center can be unstable for years and years and years and years. And so sometimes it has to be reset until it becomes stable. Once it's stable, it's like, wow, people are having amazing lives, turning completely around. A great example is my wife. She had Renauds disease, and you know what that is, I think. Or should I?
I think it has something to do with lack of sensation in the extremities.
Well, it's the color too. It's like your hands turn completely white, and there's some numbness associated with it. And it's a very common thing, and there's no cure for it. Absolutely no cure. They say you'll just have to deal with it. There's nothing we can do to help you. She's had it all her life. She's like 10-time world champion equestrian rider person, and she has to go take care of her horses, and she'll put hot packs in her gloves, and she'd come back and pull her gloves off, and her hands were white. I mean, they look dead. I'm like, holy crap. And so she said, I've dealt with this all my life. So 2 zone corrections gone. And that was 4 years ago. And she's not had one episode since. So, and then I've had 2 other patients with the same condition, and now they're gone. So, and they didn't even tell me about them. They just said, since you've been treating me, I haven't had my Renauds disease. And I was like, well, that's really possible. Another lady with Crohn's disease had it multiple years, had the gamma globulin IVs for her, massive migraine headaches, high blood pressure, osteoporosis, all those things, osteoarthritis, 6 zone corrections. And she went back to her doctor, and he said, you don't have an active disease any longer. You don't need these IVs any longer. Her massive migraine headaches were gone. The blood pressure normalized. Osteoarthritis she didn't have any. She sat in her chair for almost 24 hours a day with a hot pack on her belly. And now her husband and her are out running, living life. Another great story, if it's okay.
Keep going.
Yeah, go for it.
I have a little boy that comes in, he's 10 years old, and he's never spoken one word in his entire life. And they proved that it was vaccine-induced autism at birth. So never spoke. Speech therapist has a mute diagnosis on him. So I've been treating the family, and so the grandmother has custody. And so they thought, well, maybe you could help with him. I said, bring him in. And so 6 zone corrections, he's now speaking sentences. It has blown the family, the teachers, the speech therapist said, oh my God, he is a different boy. He's now communicating as a result of balancing his brain and his body.
So we've touched on the past a little bit on the present. So now let's talk about the future. In your mind's eye, where do you see chiropractic as a profession moving in the next 20 years or so?
I think if we continue to focus on results, results to me trumps everything. You can't argue with results. So if chiropractors continue to focus on results, and they continue to get results and get better results, then you cannot keep people away from your door, and it's going to cause that profession to continue to grow. I'm just not, I don't need therapies. I know a lot of chiropractors use therapies, but I don't need them because the adjustment works. So I'm more of a fan of focusing on the adjustment as long as you're getting the corrections and the results.
Yeah, I love the idea around results driven chiropractic. People, love the relationship that they have with a chiropractor, but also they want to have somebody that can help them. I think
Right.
that's the major premise of why somebody says, I think I need a chiropractor.
Right.
And it,
They've been to all these medical doctors and they give them the pills and saying, he's a great guy or she's a great gal. But 20 years down the road, they're still taking pills and they're still doing surgeries and therapies. And it's like, hello, let's get some results here.
Exactly. And that's what it is chiropractic serves people. It's not a cut it out, drug it out, burn it out method. It's
Right.
Let's remove the subluxation, allow the body to function as it's supposed to. And that's the real brilliant part of chiropractic is it needs nothing extra. It just simply removes the interference.
Exactly. When I correct somebody, I just step back and I just let the miracle of the body heal. It knows how to heal. I just remove the interference and then just watch the magic happen.
So cool. So cool. So I know Pete has been a mentor of yours. Robert Brooks has been a mentor of yours. And I don't recall the gal's name that did the animal chiropractic back in Iowa.
Sharon Willoughby.
Sharon Willoughby.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other people in the profession that have had a profound impact on you?
Well, I don't think so. I would go back to any one of those. I know Dr. Brooks is gone and Sharon Willoughby's gone, but Dr. Pete and I are really good friends, and we spend time together. And I just can't get enough. I'm constantly wanting to get to his level because I'm telling you, I go to a lot of his live events, and I see more miracles with him consistently than I ever have seen in church. Sometimes he doesn't even adjust them. He just talks to them. Like one doctor showed up he works on all the doctors when they come to the events. And one doctor, Dr. Pete said, hey, what's going on? He said, yeah, my bad right shoulder. I can't lift it. It's just really frozen. And Dr. Pete told him, he said, well, take your finger and point to that shoulder and say, this is my good shoulder. And this is my good shoulder. And so the doctor did. And Pete said, now move your arm. And the guy, his arm just went completely over his head. And he's like, holy crap. Whoa. He couldn't believe that. That quick. It was just, and they interviewed him later. And he said, it was 85% better instantly. And he didn't even adjust him. So the power of the subconscious is unbelievable. And so a really good example in the Bible is like the woman with the blood issue. She thought in her subconscious, if I could just touch the hem of his garment, I would heal of this terrible blood disease. Well, he walks by, she touched it, boom, she healed instantly. And he knew it, she knew it, and they talked, but there was not, he didn't do an exam or x-rays or therapies or adjustments or anything like that. It was just that supernatural subconscious to subconscious healing that took place. They call it metaphysical, which people think that's kind of a weird word, but all it means is above or beyond or beside the physical.
Well, has there been anybody else from history that maybe has influenced you or you've looked up to, someone outside of the chiropractic profession?
I always have mentors all throughout my life, and I guess my karate instructor was one of them. I mean, I learned so much from him, and I had a boss when I was going to Oklahoma University, that I was a draftsman, and he was a part-time preacher and a full-time engineer, civil engineer. And so every day he talked love, love, love to me. And he never preached to me, but he just talked love, because I had long hair and did drugs, and I was, just all that stuff. And I mean, in one day he asked me about leading me to the Lord, and I did. And that dramatically changed my life. Of course, I've failed just like everybody else, but he was a definite influence, in my instructor and Dr. Brooks and Pete Goldman.
So how did you find Dr. Brooks?
Well, that was my friends that were telling me I needed to go to a chiropractor. They had gone to him, and that he was their chiropractor. And so they said, you need to go to my chiropractor. Well, since I was doing a lot of amazing woodworking stuff, well, he and we bartered. I built him some amazing inlaid wood desk and shelves and all that kind of stuff. And so we bartered my chiropractic for, really nice furniture. and we became very good friends. I mean, really good friends, because I'm the type of person that I don't, put people on a pedestal. I just love them straight on and treat them just like anybody else. And I love them. And so they knew they could come to me and get an honest opinion, instead of like, oh, Dr. Brooks, I never had that kind of yeah thing. It was just, hey, he's my buddy. I'll just do whatever he needs. I'll help him,
So let's have some fun at the end of this interview. Let's do a speed round. What are you listening to right now?
You mean music wise?
Whatever. Podcasts, music.
Yeah, a lot of podcasts. I've actually turned the television off about a year and a half ago, because I just kept thinking I was getting brainwashed. And then I turned the radio off, and the quietness has really helped me a lot. It's just, I can hear God talking, and I'm listening, and instead of all the distractions going on, I like the silence. And we live way out in the middle of nowhere too, so I can, I listen to nature and go for hikes and stuff like that. So
what are you reading right now?
The I Am That, and then Thought Power, which are some of Pete's books that he recommends. So I'm learning about thoughts and how powerful they are, and how you can influence or change the entire world with just your thoughts. So powerful stuff.
Thought Power.
The names are Indian, guide. So I couldn't tell you the author. I have it, but I can't just say it, because it's, an Indian name.
Yeah, sure.
And what kind of things do you like to do for fun in your free time when you're not reading or listening to things?
I do a lot of woodworking. I do creative, I have a sawmill. So I actually my father-in-law has like 800 acres, and there's always dead trees falling. And so I go and harvest the trees and the trunks, and I cut my own lumber, and I actually go from lumber to furniture and put resin in it, or turquoise, or we go to Santa Fe once a year, and I get some amazing ideas down at the plaza, those art shows, art stores and stuff. So they want, $80,000 for a little table. And I'm like, I could build that for $100. And so I come back and I get inspired to build those things at home.
Have you ever built anything just to chop it in half?
Just to chop it in half?
Yeah.
I don't think I have.
Well, the last question we have for you now is, what are some websites or links that you can give our listeners if they want to learn more about you or what you're doing or zone technique or your animal adjustments? Give us some things to go research.
So zonetechnique.com. That's where you can get information about, if you're a layperson and you want to check out the Zone Technique, you can go to that website and look at their directory, and you can find doctors all over the world. Actually, you can find a zone doctor everywhere. And if you're another chiropractor and you're interested in learning more and getting another exponential rise in your results, then they have a way you can get a call from the school, and they can, kind of give you ideas about how to join the zone school and do that. And then just my email address, and you have that. You can post that if you want to. And then animals is Options for Animals. They are up in Wellsville, Kansas. That's they can go there, and if they want to get their animal adjusted, they can just go to look up Options for Animals, and they have Find a Doctor in their website, so you can put in your zip code, and they'll lead you to where there's an animal chiropractor in your area.
And at this juncture, is there anything that we didn't ask you that you'd like to share with our audience today?
I'm good. I'm just happy as I can be. I appreciate you guys and what you do, and I'm really, like I said, I'm 80 miles above excellent.
Well, Gregg, thank you very much for being our guest today. I know this was a lot of fun having you on our show.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you guys.
And I look forward to connecting with you in the future and seeing if I can get some woodwork done from you.
For sure. Or come down and you can do it with me.
Cool. I need to get back to Oklahoma one of these days anyways, so I appreciate the invite.
Great place.
All right, Dr. Gregg, thank you very much, and we want you to enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
All right, bye for now.
All right, bye.
Thanks for listening to Chirohustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.